Hey everybody, this is Chris Shang again. Today we've got Vladislav, who is the founder and CEO of Belkins, which is one of arguably the number one appointment setting agency that's out there. But why don't you tell us a little bit about what you guys do, types of companies you guys tend to work with, and just kind of the history of the company.
Yeah, hi Chris, happy to be with you today, and thank you for the intro. For a no longer like introduction, so Belkins, I run this company for 8 years so far, and as Chris highlighted, we strive to be number one in the industry, and this is usually like when the company is announcing they're number one in something, they're not, but we actually like did this work so far and like really proud of being number one with all the love from our clients, with all the reviews that we're getting across all the websites like Clutch, G2, Trustpilot, and everything. And the basically hard work paid off so far. And we're doing B2B lead generation, and our core specialty is B2B appointment setting. We helping our clients like getting more clients in a way. So this kind of a bit tautology, but this is what it is. And about myself, so I'm 29 years old, have a few companies, Belkins one of it, and Word first. And with Belkins, basically company help us to maintain like healthy margins and invest to different ventures. So I can like, without no doubt, tell that I'm kind of serial entrepreneur with few other companies like Foldrily, which is our first product with a specialty of email deliverability, basically helping clients to get out of spam folders, and a few other projects, but there's two notable ones.
Got it. Very cool. So tell us a little bit about, how you ultimately started Belkins. Um, it seems like you've always had kind of like the entrepreneurial spirit, but like, yeah, how did the origination of you building out that business? And obviously, I think like going from what is traditionally like a service-based business to be able to scale it up to the level that you have is notoriously difficult. And so like, what have been some of the learnings as you've grown the business as to like how to, and I'm sure like a lot of this is process driven and documentation and then having, a lot of these systems in place, but kind of walk us through in terms of like how you figured it out and what does that look like for you guys internally?
Sure thing. So before starting Belkins, a little bit about my background. So I worked as a head of research team at various of product companies, basically SaaS companies. And the last one before starting Belkins were about news and media analytics. Basically, we work closely with US publishers like Washington Post, New York Times, and other, basically with these news conglomerates out there to basically sell them news analytics. So basically help them to understand how they can increase their revenue with posting all of these kind of articles with circulation and everything. And back then there was a huge problem with the space for all publisher, all the news websites. That the problem was number one, how we can earn money with publishing everything onto the internet with everyone like reading for free. And back then other folks probably came up with a better idea of creating paywall, like you read one article, then $1 for another or $10 for another, and basically they came up with this. But we started with like entering the space with analytics. So basically help them to analyze crunching numbers basically and get the right decision and earn ROI from it. So why I'm telling you this? Because all my like sales and marketing journey started basically at that company because we had, can you imagine, only like, if I recall correctly, like 5,000 companies that potentially can be our clients and no more. Like some industries can like say out loud that we have million of companies, small businesses over the US. But with that kind of case that I had, we only have 5,000 companies. We did like basically everything, selling our arm and leg to understand how to approach them, how to use email in the right way, how to call them, how to basically chase them with the ads, and how we can utilize road shows and everything. So basically each and every like acquisition channel so far.
Yep.
And it was kind of burn land. Like basically you have no kind of chance for mistake because you have limited base and you wanted to maintain relation with your clients and you're doing all those kind of strategies and tricks. So, and I'm starting to learning more and more how like B2B marketing works and everything. And then I came up with the idea with my friend Michael. We also met in the company. Here's my partner right now. So what if we'll put everything we already know, how to work with each and every acquisition channel, and especially with email marketing, into something more kind of healthy in a way. If we like starting to see a fit of our skills that we can like maintain, like set up and do like acquisition for various company. And I come up with the idea, listen, Michael, let's create a company where we helping clients with this kind of problems we currently working on. And we're starting to like send some emails. And I remember this kind of very clear that one like company from Atlanta responded, and they basically were super interested how we can help them with like entire acquisition, how we can schedule meetings, how we can qualify them, etc. And I'm just like, what is your ideal customer profile like? Portrait of clients. And he said like, US companies that just raise money, Series A. And I like, okay, it is already be like more than 10,000 companies for sure. That would be like 5,000 struggle. And we started like exploring the opportunity for them, and at the end, eventually close them and getting our first revenue, which is more like $6,000 or something per month. And we work with this client for entire year after. And it basically were our first investor in a way because we're still bootstrapping with all the companies they have, and it basically was our first budget for us with Michael to understanding, okay, this thing works, we need to scale it, let's find more clients, let's see if there is like any scalability in this process. And it happened that yes, we're starting to grow very fast, like I don't know, like second client were on next month, and then we hired some of our friends to help us with account management, SDR, research work, and we're starting to grow. So basically, after the first year in the company, like running Balkans, we have got 30 people, and we were close to 70 grand a month as a monthly recurring revenue. And then we grew like twice, thrice, depending on the year till now. And we currently have 350 people over the globe, with a majority in the US, Europe, and Great Britain as well. And after the first also year, worth to mention, we've got, I think, 20 clients, 22, 25 clients approx, which has helped us to grow again. And we basically cracked the code in a way that we understood how this industry works, how you need to deliver, how you need to promise, because there is a super struggle with the lead gen space that everyone promising, no one delivering. And from the very foundation of the company, as our culture, part of our culture, basically how we are delivering to our clients. There's basically client first approach in the place where we basically understanding that since we're bootstrapping, we need to ensure that these clients will stay with us forever. And what we need to do them. So basically care for them and helping them to get the ROI from all the meetings, all the process, all the lead gen we are serving them.
Got it. And that's super interesting. I mean, like with the lead gen, are there specific like verticals that you guys ended up cracking the code on? Because there's also like certain ones that are notoriously difficult in terms of like capturing attention.
Right.
And is that part of like the qualifying process of how you decide which companies to work with, or are you guys pretty agnostic in that sense? Then you'll go in and you'll take a stab at it, figure out if there's any differentiators. Like, does it differ from client to client in terms of like the playbook or strategies that you guys build out for them?
Totally. I think for first 4 or 5 years in the company, like four for sure, company years, we work with like we basically were industry agnostic, only like that the company is B2B type only matters. And after a certain like period of time, I think it's like 4.5, like maybe up to 5. We're already getting a lot of like case studies, and we're seeing that our approach is working for certain industries better. And for example, we've got this client in manufacturing that producing all the furniture for, golf clubs, hotels, hospitality industry. And it was like kind of extremely high results from it. Like extremely, I mean, out of like 1,000 emails sent, we've got like 70% replay rate, which is ridiculous. No one have that. Like basically to each second email, someone responded, okay, can you send me a brochure or list or deck or one pager? And I'm just like, what the fuck? There is nothing like that before, because industry kind of rough. It's really hard to deliver for certain industries, especially these that have a highly competitive spaces like software development, any tech, SaaS, and a few others. And we cracked the code that if we will stay niche, like working with manufacturing, healthcare, nonprofits, I don't know, financial services, finance, pharmaceuticals, biotech, and we can deliver them because they're kind of unsophisticated in a way when it takes to acquisition channels and basically to this acquisition process. And using our like processes, we actually managed to deliver them really high results. And we stick to these industries by today, but still working with others and trying to crack the code. This is why we recently pivoted to more omni-channel type of the approach, instead of specifically focusing on only one channel like email marketing or ads or calls or whatever. And omni-channel, you can like say to me that omni-channel were in the market like for 20 years, maybe 30, maybe 50, maybe. And what kind of different? And I would like to respond to that. Like at the beginning, it was kind of innovative approach, but now it's the approach that will help you to strive for the growth. Because otherwise, if you will still stick to one channel, like for example, email, super hard this year. Starting from June, Google enforced their like rules for emails that sending from Gmail, G Suite, and September last month, Microsoft also like tightened the cogwheels in Outlook and Microsoft Exchange, making sure that less emails went through the system at all. And email kind of super rough. And there is a statement on the market that it's super cheap channel. You can do the outbound and get your first client very cheap, but not anymore because it's entire technical process. You need to stop domains, mailboxes, IP addresses, whatever. And omni-channel, back into omni-channel, it worked in a way as a survival mode for acquisition because it really is super expensive right now. Even though I run a poll over my LinkedIn about average customer acquisition cost, like basically how much you pay for on average for SQL, sales qualified lead. And like 70% of responders went that my sales acquisition, sales qualified lead cost, basically customer acquisition cost, were more than $500 per lead, and the other half answered that more than 1,000, which is like really a lot when you need to at least have like 10 meetings to close one, 10 SQLs to close one. You need to spend 10,000 for a certain channel, and this is where 10% conversion rate, because people having even like 2, 5, 1% conversion rate, which is like super expensive. So yeah, to answer your question, omni-channel is the way how you can like deliver just like almost every industry right now, but you need to be super technical about it and show your operation excellence, how you connect the dots with all the channels to make sure everything works with the right campaigns, with the right nurturing, and you will get maximum from your acquisition channel.
Interesting. I mean, I agree with that. I feel like omni-channel has been very popular in the direct to consumer, right, space. And that's where it's been, prevalent for 30, 40, 50 years. In the B2B space, though, it's still fairly new, right? I feel like, but the attention is now shifting because of how crowded it's gotten in the past like 10, 12 years, software and B2B SaaS space. It's like, I think like the attention scarcity makes it almost like it is a prerequisite or table stakes to be omni-channel now, because your
100%.
emails, your LinkedIn's are oversaturated with solicitations, and so it's hard to discern what's actually valuable. I still see those as like, email is the primary channel for conversion to like meetings and to customer, but in terms of like capturing attention, omni-channel, relying on other channels is gonna be more important. Is there a specific like suite of channels that you think about when you're talking about omni-channel, or is that like again specific to each client and does it differ? And then how do you guys think about it? Like, are you pulling from 10 different channels to bring to the
Yeah.
table? Are you identifying like 3 to 4 that you guys really want to hone in on in the very beginning? And do you guys scale that up, or how does that typically work for you?
That's actually a good question. So there is a standard omni-channel approach, having email, cold call, and LinkedIn, for example. You send an email, you connect on LinkedIn, you follow up with the call. Hey, I just connected you over the LinkedIn, whatever, and you're doing this. But now we are working from the input data from each and every like client that we have, working with understanding how they work with their sales marketing budget, how does look their alignment within the company, and what is their close rate, like basically sales metrics, close rate, sales cycle, sales pipeline velocity, for example, how they close these leads, who they close these leads, and we're understanding what channel would be best for them. Basically, plus like multiply by their goal. Like, for example, I wanted to grow my company by X by the end of the year, or I am opening a new market, or I launching a new product. So yeah, but still is good combination of three. Like do the cold email, do the more warm kind of approach over the LinkedIn with post, comment on post of your clients, and do the intent cold call, not just like, hey, my name is Vlad, I'm calling you from Balkans because you will get just fuck off, man. I just don't want to talk to you. And this is how the cold call industry works, right? Um, Now there is a like all channels like email, cold calls, ads, like everything starting to be super difficult. And it, even though starting to more look like not for the marketers, but for the cybersecurity, for example, email, it kind of looks like cybersecurity right now. Social also, like you need to manage how to work with LinkedIn, how to not to get blocked because you cannot use any automation in a way. And cold calls, no one just pick up the phone from you. But with the like, for example, intent cold calling, you basically sending some emails, you calling them, hi John, I just send you a few emails. Did you had a chance to look over them? And basically you can like, you already have like one touch point that you can like
Yeah,
hang on, and it will help you to like in a way warm this lead up, and you will have more fruitful conversations. And for example, by maintaining LinkedIn and email in the right way, and then do the intent cold calling without like straightforward cold call, you will get more results. For example, that's the rule of thumb right now.
got it. Yeah, so leveraging the different channels as a way to, I mean, I've done this too, where it just kind of, or advised on it, but like, as a way to kind of like stack up the effort that you're going to be putting forth. And so yeah, it elicits ultimately a response, either a positive one or a negative one. In either case, like I think it's also important to get negative responses, especially for younger companies, and understand why,
Totally.
right? And so, but I feel like, yeah, to be able to like leverage the fact that I just shot you an email, or I just like added you on LinkedIn, be able to leverage from all those different channels what you're actually doing. It helps people understand. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna be persistent until you kind of like let me know what's going on.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah,
to that point, how much, you mentioned, a lot of these efforts now are a lot more, there's like a lot of tools out there. It's kind of like limiting the scale of what you could do, right? And that being in terms of like volume or velocity, where historically you might have been able to automate something from a single inbox and like send out, thousands of emails and it would
right.
work from a numbers perspective. But how has that shift happened for you guys? Like, what have you noticed in terms of like, is it been the past couple of years? Has it really been, hitting home the past year in terms of like making the, maybe it's not necessarily called a pivot for you, but like an adjustment in terms of how you guys think about leveraging the different channels, and then how you
Yeah,
coordinate the efforts, and how important, like you also mentioned like engaging with other people's posts, but like how important is it now to be doing some of these more like higher touch engagements as part of like the overall outreach?
Yeah, so we noticed this, I don't know, in 2019 at spring, I think, from the recent Google update that like basically uh, put tight rules on how like they rank emails within the client's mailboxes. And back then, this is one of the reasons why I decided to create Foldrily as a company. So back then, we had to manage around 1,000 mailboxes for all of our clients, and like and the one Monday, I think, or Tuesday in the morning, I saw that all these mailboxes like basically went to zero with the performance without having even like any responses, even open rates, anything. Basically, we had, I remember there's like 70%, like 70 on average percent of open rates, like 20% of reply rates on average, and they basically went to zero. Basically drastic shutdown of the emails. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Because we do have still these things with our clients, and everyone's starting to worrying about that because it's super crazy. And I decided to like dive deep into like email and see that okay, we need to have like all these DNS records. We need to send like 100 emails per day from my mailbox with 100-second delay, 150-second delay between emails, and it already is starting to showing super hard for like marketers because they just don't understand how they can affect like company domain. I need to like change basically Balkans.io, its DNS settings, and stuff like Mailchimp, Mondreals, Reply Outreach, and all of these kind of tools in a certain way, and it will show that we're like credible to send emails. So was within one channel only, and then we realized that we need to work on different channels, starting to like building more different agencies within our like agency structure we have here, and it helped us basically to find like common ground within certain acquisition channels like email and certain industries, how to deliver to them, what kind of works, what's not. And now we have, I don't know, 15,000 of emails or maybe 20,000 of emails that we're managing on a daily basis, which is crazy operational work. And kudos to the team who managing these mailboxes and all client projects because it's super crazy. Maintaining email deliverability, making sure that we always deliver to our clients is something from our day-to-day like mantras. I don't know.
Yeah, makes sense. Interesting. And I guess like we're kind of rounding up on time, but we'd love to kind of get your thoughts around, with all these different like AI tools that are coming out now.
Yeah.
How do you think about leveraging them, or how do you think about them in terms of like crowding the space? I got my own personal thoughts on it too. I feel like there was the guy who invented Linux who said like 90% of it's marketing, 10% of it's reality right now. And he's kind of like dismissive of a lot of it. I've seen a lot of like companies that are over promising, under delivering on terms of like AI, specifically around sales enablement. So I'm just
Yeah.
curious as to your takes on it.
So the first myth here that AI will change or like replace us at our jobs. I don't think so, even though if you kind of thinking human being, it's kind of impossible because still you need to manage like basically thinking, and AI cannot think like on your behalf, only with like with your all of your input data. And that's the one through. And the second through that you definitely need to utilize AI. And I strongly suggest to if someone's still not using like ChatGPT or OpenAI products, or even Perplexity, Claude, and a few others, they're really good ones. Basically, pioneers of the market. It actually works as your personal assistant in a certain way, like different like goals related to, for example, content, like translating, or maybe to like I don't know, pulling your recipe for the dinner. It can basically you can give a shot of your like fridge and it will come up with a recipe. So that's really nice tool. And I think that sales and marketers over our space should utilize these tools to be more effective and basically coverage areas that they never had experience before, because this is a super tool for leveraging your like knowledge within certain space. So 100%. And I really don't believe with this AI SDR thing, for example, um, that will basically potentially will automate some work, but never replace SDRs. Because, like one example, how would AI will I don't know generate meetings for I don't know Pfizer, like when they targeting I don't know laboratories? It's ridiculous. They didn't even find any lead of it, or what the process would be. So yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Uh, yeah, I agree. I mean, so I guess like the follow-up question to that would be, with all the money that's being poured into just kind of like AI, and also not just the technology around the LLMs and the training programs, but more specifically the resources that actually needs to be dedicated to them from like you know uh from the limited like the limited like Earth's resources has to be dedicated, and the energy that needs to be
Right.
dedicated to these things. Do you have any like thoughts around how the next year or 2 years will play out in that sense, as like to maybe potentially a longer term impact of like all of this momentum that's shifting in towards learning what the potential, I guess, of this could be? Like,
So
is
I
there
think we
like
just need.
larger, yeah, any like larger ramifications? Because I feel like it does impact then like even the way that companies will buy, it'll impact larger, macroeconomic environments, and it'll shift things a little bit, right? Like especially if we have a bubble that kind of like pulls back from the space. So I'm just kind of like curious as to like if you think about any of those like, yeah, the side effects of it.
So yeah, that's a good take. So I think the side effects of it. So people will really love to work with people, 100%. You don't want to like have this kind of endless cold calls from AI that will I don't know do whatever. Over this calls, you just hang out without even say like fuck off already. So you just hang out because this is AI generated thing, because it's regulation that the thing need to say that it's AI, and they just still will be needed like kind of people that will connect with people. But you can certainly like automate some of I don't know help centers, support tasks, and summarize problems in a like effective way. But still people will work with people eventually, and people will utilize technology, or like I hope, like fingers crossed for that, that people utilize technology in the right manner, and they will starting to be like kind of more effective. And for example, using the AI will help you to like spend more time with the family because you will be more effective on the work. Like that's the sort of thing I think.
Yeah. So it's more so of like taking away, helping with efficiencies and taking away the manual, mundane work, and the shift to cognitive productivity seems like
Yeah,
AI is not necessarily going to be able to take over yet.
yeah. Basically, imagine this way: how like copywriting evolved so far. So they had this kind of typing machines. Then before that, even though they have like pens and letters and ink, then typing machines, then laptops, and now you have AI that's like basically having to writing content. So this is basically how pen evolved all over the years.
Yeah.
And with all of these cases of evolving, still human being required to like hang like basically handling this pen.
Yep. Makes sense. Last question here. Somebody who's been listening in, his name's Max, asked a question about what do you do to hold focus within omni-channel? Is the first part of the question, which I believe you can, yeah, why don't you share your answer? Like, what do you do to hold focus within an omni-channel approach?
So as I said, it's actually starting with your numbers, actually starting with all the input data, and the goal of business that we're working with. So our goal as a company, like Belkin's goal, to help these businesses to grow and making sure that they hitting these numbers, they hitting new revenue, they getting the sufficient amount of leads and managing to close them. So with all the input data, we understanding what channels would be more efficient, like what do you need to do with emails, calls, socials, ads, content, for example, how you need to do like create a thought leadership around that. And based on that, we developing this kind of solution that will multiply results from each and every channel and still bringing the valuable results that client get ROI from. And make sure that we will make sure that client's company will grow, because it's the only thing why even clients searching companies like ours, they wanted to be sure that you will help them to grow, and we need to help them to grow.
Yeah. I have a question for you on that, just to dive a little bit deeper. Like, how much do you feel like time decay of attention is relevant? Meaning that if somebody indicates or hand raises in any of the channels, like the time to respond, like the longer it takes, the exponentially lower chance you end up having of like then getting them to the next stage. How do you think about that in terms of how you guys coach the teams?
Yeah. So certainly there is some kind of decay of process. So you need to send one more email to get an answer than like it takes before. You need to make extra mile to deliver for our client. That's 100% how it works right now. And you just need to be kind of creative in the way how you approaching these channels, not just like having 10-step sequence for a few months and then realize that no one will answer to you and you're getting zero result from it. You just like always circling on back, like what's wrong with it? Why did this client or this client didn't answer to me? Is that like too generic, or is it deliverability problem, or I need to use another channel? Maybe with this industry, people like to go to road shows and shake hands. So it really depends.
Yeah. Very cool. On that note, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time today and just sharing your insights and what you've learned as you've grown your business, and then being a thought leader in the space as it gets to appointment setting and lead generation. So very insightful, super helpful.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.